Under the cold glow of the African moon, a man named Chigozie stepped into a graveyard cursed by the dead. His mission? To kill Evangelist Reinhard Bonnke. But what he found that night was a force so powerful, it would shatter his darkness and rewrite his destiny forever. The moon hung low over the African landscape, casting an eerie glow across the vast expanse of the ancient graveyard. As the wind howled through the twisted branches of the trees, the air seemed thick with whispers that echoed from the long-dead souls buried beneath the earth. This was no ordinary graveyard. It was a place of darkness, where the spirits of the restless dead were said to wander, seeking revenge on the living. But tonight, one man had come to make it his home. He had entered the graveyard not to mourn, but to unleash a power so dark it could erase the light of the world. His name was Chigozie, and in the dead of night, amidst the decaying graves and the ghosts of forgotten, he made a vow. He would kill Evangelist Reinhard Bonnke. But there was more to this man's mission. This was not just about eliminating a preacher. This was about destroying the very power of the gospel that had ignited a flame of hope across Africa. But little did Chigozie know, he was about to face something far more terrifying than any demon he had ever summoned, a power that would change him forever. Now stay with me, because this is a story unlike any other. A story of darkness, power, and a transformation that defied all odds. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because what you're about to hear will shake you to your core. Don't miss a moment of this incredible journey from hatred to redemption, where the most unlikely of men faces a light that would change his destiny. In the heart of Africa, where faith and superstition clashed daily, there was a man named Chigozie, a man driven by hatred, vengeance, and a desire to destroy the light of the gospel. A man who, in the darkest of nights, would dare to enter graveyards, no ordinary graveyards, but those filled with the ancient and cursed spirits that once inhabited the land. These were no ordinary resting places. They were places of despair, of deep-rooted evil. And Chigozie was on a mission to kill Evangelist Reinhard Bonnke, the great man of God who had shaken the very foundations of Africa with his gospel. Chigozie had one plan: to stop Reinhard Bonnke by any means necessary, even if it meant sacrificing his own life. He believed that if he could end Bonnke's life, he could extinguish the flame of faith that had been lighting up his country for years. Chigozie had been born into a life steeped in darkness. His father, a notorious witch doctor, taught him from an early age to harness the powers of the spiritual realm. He was trained to call upon demons, summon spirits, and use dark powers to manipulate the physical world. His mother, though not as powerful as his father, was a seer, gifted with the ability to see into the unseen world. Together, they groomed Chigozie into a formidable force, someone who could bend the spirits to his will. His hatred for Christianity was cultivated from his earliest years. He saw the growing influence of Evangelist Bonnke, a German preacher who had come to Africa with the mission of spreading the gospel. Everywhere he went, Bonnke's fiery sermons captivated the masses. Healing miracles were reported. People began to be freed from demonic oppression. The light of the gospel spread like wildfire. But to Chigozie, this light was a curse. The growing influence of Christianity posed a threat to the work of his father and the power they had over the community. The darkness that had reigned for centuries was now in jeopardy. The world saw Reinhard Bonnke as a mighty man of God, but to Chigozie, he was an enemy who had to be eliminated. Chigozie's first attempt to take down Reinhard Bonnke occurred during a large crusade in Lagos. He had disguised himself as a believer, infiltrating the crowd under the guise of seeking prayer. His plan was simple. He would get close to Bonnke and strike him down in front of the crowd, ensuring that the message of salvation would never reach another soul. But as he stood there with all his demonic power in hand, something unexpected happened. As Bonnke stood on stage, his powerful voice echoing across the open field, Chigozie's spirit began to tremble. He felt a presence, an unshakable power that he could not explain. It was as though the very air around him began to thicken. His heart raced. Suddenly, as if guided by an unseen force, Chigozie found himself on the ground, writhing in pain. The ground beneath him seemed to shake as Bonnke's prayers lifted the spirits of darkness from the land. Reeling from his failure, Chigozie was more determined than ever to finish what he had started. He traveled far to the east, to an ancient graveyard that was known to be cursed. This was no ordinary place. It was said that the spirits of the dead had never found rest, that their anger and frustration kept them from moving on. Chigozie believed that if he slept in the graveyard, offering himself as a vessel to the dark forces that lingered there, he would receive the strength to take down Reinhard Bonnke once and for all. For 7 nights, he laid in the cursed grounds, allowing the spirits to enter his body and fill him with their evil power. His body became a conduit for dark forces, each spirit bringing him closer to his goal. As the days passed, Chigozie's obsession grew. He spent his nights whispering curses against the Evangelist. He summoned every demon he knew, asking them for help. His thoughts consumed him, and with each passing day, he believed more deeply in his mission. He had become the embodiment of the evil spirits he had called upon. There was no going back. It was on the 7th night that the unimaginable happened. Chigozie had already set his mind on the final assault, but as the midnight hour struck, something within the graveyard began to stir, a force far greater than anything he had encountered. The air grew thick and suffocating. The spirits that had once aided him now seemed to turn on him. The ground trembled beneath his body, as if it was rejecting him. His mind, once clouded with hatred, suddenly began to clear. In that moment, Chigozie realized that the darkness he had summoned was consuming him. He could feel the power of the spirits entering his soul, dragging him deeper into a bottomless pit of despair. His once clear vision now became clouded with confusion and torment. And then, in the midst of his torment, a light pierced the darkness. It was a blinding light that filled every inch of the graveyard. Chigozie could see nothing but pure, unexplainable light. It was not a human light, nor was it of this earth. The spirits screamed in agony as the light grew stronger. Chigozie fell to his knees, unable to withstand its power. He felt the weight of his life's choices crashing down on him. This was no ordinary light. This was the power of God. In the days that followed, Chigozie's life was forever changed. He had seen the truth, and that truth was more powerful than anything he had ever known. The light that overwhelmed him was the power of the gospel, the very thing he had set out to destroy. But it didn't end there. Evangelist Reinhard Bonnke, having received a vision of Chigozie's struggle, came to the very graveyard where Chigozie lay broken. There, Bonnke prayed over him, breaking the chains of darkness that had held him captive for so long. As Chigozie rose from the graveyard, his soul was set free. He had been a vessel for darkness, but now he was a vessel for light. His heart was transformed, and his spirit was reborn. He who had once sought to kill the Evangelist was now filled with a passion to spread the gospel. Chigozie's story became a powerful testimony of redemption, and his transformation from an enemy of faith to a servant of the gospel inspired thousands. He dedicated the rest of his life to traveling across Africa, telling his story and leading others to Christ. The lesson was clear. No power of darkness, no matter how deep, could stand against the light of God's love. No one is beyond redemption, and even the most hardened heart can be transformed by the power of the gospel. If Chigozie's story speaks to you, take a moment today to reflect on your own journey. Whether you have been lost in darkness or have never encountered the light, know that redemption is available to all. No one is too far gone, and no obstacle is too great. The power to change your life is within reach. All it takes is one step toward the light.